Hi everybody. No, it's been a little while since I gave you a update on the van build progress, and thought I'd give you a quick update today. As you recall, the plan was to have a sink, stove, and refrigerator, or slash cooler, I should say, along one wall, and then the other wall to have a fold-out bed that actually folds out and then extends all the way up to the seats. This is just my rough draft of how I thought things would look I did on my computer. A lot of people ask me how I actually do this, and it's real straightforward and simple. You just take a picture of the empty space in the back of your van and then load it on your computer and open it up under the paint program, and then just start drawing lines where you think things ought to go. And then you just do several pictures where you just make small changes and line them up side by side, and when you run it through, it gives this an impression of movement. It's pretty simple. And if you recall, when I left off last, I had just finished the sink area and got the drain hooked in, got the water hooked up, and got this bench built and the fabric on it, and I started covering the back. That was where I left off. And on the sink I put this backing to it, and you can see I started covering it with that same white board, got it covered over, and then I built this cover to go over the sink and stove just as I originally planned, and that way it's all out of sight when you're not using it. The really cool thing is this cover flips around and becomes this extension table that hooks right in these grooves here, and you can rest other things on it while you're cooking and have extra room. I went ahead and built an extra cabinet up near the ceiling right above where the driver's seat is, and it's just the right height so the driver's seat can still lay all the way back and it doesn't interfere, you don't bump your head or anything. And if you're not aware, I do plan on using illumination in all the finger holes. That's why I went with finger holes instead of using actual knobs. And this is kind of interesting. Right behind the driver's seat, I actually made a closet that you can hang a few clothes right behind the driver's seat, and it doesn't interfere with the seat laying back at all. Next, I decided that I wanted all my switches centralized, and I started building this panel to hang up in the van, and got all the switches hooked up, and they're all illuminated rocker switches, and I got the lights under the sink all hooked up and illuminating. It looks pretty good. After that, I started framing out the area behind the passenger seat where the explosive gas carbon monoxide detector is going to be, and my power outputs, my 12-volt DC and 110-volt outputs, also where my fire extinguisher and smoke detector is going to be. And if you notice, in this van I recessed everything, because in my last van I noticed as you go in and out of the van, that door, you always hang up on it, and a couple of times I actually ripped them off the wall, and I decided I'm not going to have that problem this time. And in this picture I've got everything hooked up and wired up correctly and functioning. Got my outlet cover on my outlet, and my explosive gas carbon monoxide detector working, my DC output supply working. And you might be wondering why I made that little hand-sized hole over there to the left, and that's because in the event power was to totally fail and you're in the back of the van, you need to get out that side door. You can still throw open the cabinet and reach in and grab hold of that manual lock that's on the door and open the door. Otherwise, you'd be trapped in there. Again, I just used whiteboard for the face that's facing the street, and put trim on it, and I think it turned out looking pretty sharp. And finally, I started finishing out the area where the bed folds into, and if you'll see, I put whiteboard down inside there. I got it all finished out. I got a couple cup holders cut into it, and I think it's turning out looking pretty good. My plan is to also have lighting inside there so you can lay in bed and read and have a drink and relax. You see I went with the same fabric theme inside there. All of the bedding fits inside there snugly. I don't have to store any bedding anywhere else. Blankets and pillows, everything fit right inside there. That simple $25 marine pump gives me good water pressure here, and I'm liking it. Hope you have a blessed day in Jesus. Thank you for watching.